leading job portal in Nigeria, Delon Nigeria. You can visit our website on jobs.delon.ng. My name is Deborah Yusuf, and today we'll be dealing with one of the simple and difficult questions that recruiters ask during interviews. Now, let me let you know that this webinar series will not just hold today alone. It's something that will be continuous, and we'll be dealing with issues regarding job employment, placement, recruitment, interview questions, and so many other things. So you would want to keep it locked with us. Yes, you would want to continue to engage with us in this webinar series. All you need to do is reach out to us on Facebook at Delon Nigeria. And of course, on our website, you can definitely go on our website. You see resource materials that will help you regarding recruitment and interviewing. That's jobs.delon.ng. So today we'll be dealing with the question, tell me about yourself. Now, as a young person or a young graduate or a student, whatever position you are, after school, if you want to apply for a job, the first thing you do is send your CV to the company recruiting, and then the HR person has to go through the thousands of CVs before him or her, and eventually yours comes out successful, amongst others, of course. Now, after that phase, the next phase is the interviewing phase, and that's where you have to face a representative of the company face to face. You'll be asked questions that you'll be required to answer, and how best you answer these questions will determine if you get the job or not. One of the questions that you would be asked, and that some people have found it very difficult to answer, although it seems quite simple, because yes, telling someone about yourself, of course, should be simple. But when it comes to job related issues, when it comes to an interview, this question might become to seem difficult, and that's the question, tell me about yourself. Now, if you meet someone as an individual, if you're having a conversation with someone and the person says, tell me about yourself, of course, a casual conversation or a friendly conversation, however you want to call it, the first thing you would want to say is, oh, my name is Deborah Yusuf. I am female, but that's separate, of course. I graduated from so and so school, ABC school. I am from this particular state and all of that. So you would want to give your personal details, because you consider it a friendly conversation, a conversation you're having with someone who wants to be friends with you. But when it comes to a job interview, that is not how you deal with the question. How you deal with the question, tell me about yourself, is very, very different. So we'll be diving into dealing with these questions. What are the things you should say when you are asked to tell the interviewer about yourself? What are the things you shouldn't say? What should be contained in your words? How do you present your words? How do you ensure that the interviewer is convinced by what you say? So firstly, the question, tell me about yourself, is not a summary of your CV. Now, you need to understand that the recruiter has a copy of your CV with him or her. So definitely for him or her to have called you, for the company or the organization to have called you for an interview, then it means they've gone through your CV and they are quite impressed with what they've seen in your CV. So they are not asking you to tell them what's in your CV, because they have a copy of your CV with them. So what are they asking? They are asking you to be much more personal. They are asking you to be much more professional. Now, I know you might, okay, that's kind of confusing, professional and personal at the same time. How do you do that? Now, being professional means you give them your experiences. You tell them a story of your experiences that are related to the job you're applying for. Now, being personal means you have to make your story relatable. The fact that you want to be professional doesn't mean you become like a robot. Yeah. Your recruiters are human and you are a human too. So you're telling them a story, you're taking them through your years of experience. They wouldn't relate with you, they wouldn't understand you if you are telling the story like a machine, like you have it programmed in your head already. It's even worse if you claim to have years of experience and you're sounding like you're rehearsed. So, firstly, you have to be professional about telling them about yourself. Whatever it is you want to say, whatever experience you're giving should be related with the company and the role you're applying for. That's another aspect of being professional. So he or she, the recruiter doesn't need you to tell him or her your name, your state of origin. Not necessary. Those are not necessary details, or your age, or your religion and all of that. In fact, all these details are not expected to be in your CV, because this is not a personal engagement. This is a professional engagement. So all of that should not be in your CV. Being professional means you tell them about your experiences. What are the skills you have that will help you in this job? What are the experiences you've had? What's the knowledge you have? What are the skills you have that made you think that you are capable of taking this role, or that would make you that would be able to convince them, yeah, that's the word, and to give you the job. So for example, let's say you are applying for the role of perhaps a customer relations manager, yeah, or a customer relations officer, and you've worked as a sales rep, you've worked as a teacher before, perhaps immediately after school graduation, you worked as a teacher. You then after that, as the years went by, you worked as a sales rep. You worked sometimes as a customer relations manager. Now, when you are telling them about yourself, they don't need you to tell them you've been a teacher before, because the job of a teacher really doesn't relate with being a customer relations manager. So you have to tell them the experiences that you've had that relates well with the job. And that's your experience of being a customer relations officer for an organization before, or if you're presently a customer relations officer. And of course, your experience of being a sales rep, because as a sales rep, you definitely relate with people, you engage with people, have discussions with people, and you want to ensure that you sell whatever product or service you're advertising, or the company is asking you to sell. So that can also serve as an experience for you in the role of a customer relations manager. Those are the experiences that you would be required to talk about. And then you mention what are those things that you did while you served as a customer relations officer and as a sales rep that helped you to stand out and carried out the job or the duties responsibly and successfully, that you think will help you in the present job you're applying for. So be professional, and yes, be personal. Now, I said you are taking them through your experience story. You're telling them how you graduated from school, and then you took up a job, and then you took up the job of a sales rep before, you've been a customer relations officer before, and all of that. So you have to make it relatable. You have to make your story relatable. Don't be like a robot. So imagine you being the interviewer, and there's a young person before you. You're asking, tell me about yourself, and okay, the person wants to tell you the experiences he or she has gathered, and he or she's sounding like a robot. Like, okay, there's a way you tell a story, and the person you're telling the story to buys the story, relates with it. Now, that doesn't mean you should become emotional about it, but be appealing about your story. Be appealing about sharing your experiences with the recruiter. That would help them know that, okay, this person has got what we are looking for. This person has got the skills we're looking for and is fit for the job. Thirdly, when you are asked to tell about yourself, now I already mentioned that you are telling them your experiences, your professional experiences that you've gathered over the years. Now you are expected to start from your most recent experience. Most of the time, you don't have all of the time to tell the story that you have, and your interviewer might not really be patient enough to listen to your stories. So with the little time you have to make sure that you achieve more with the little time that you have. You have to make sure that you're able to sell yourself more, because really telling them about yourself is selling yourself, selling your skills to them, telling them you're capable of this job that you're applying for. So most of the time you don't have the time, all of the time, to tell your story. So what do? You start from your most recent experience. So back to the story I was talking about. So let's say after secondary school, you took up the job of a teacher, and then after that, you were a sales rep, and then you became a customer relations officer. Perhaps that's what you presently do. You are a customer relations officer, and now you want to apply for a customer relations manager. So you're not expected to start from when you became a teacher. You're expected to start from the role you are currently occupying. That's your customer relations officer role. Because if you as you have tens, or you're taking a recruiter through those years of experience, that's going to take you like 30 minutes to talk about. So start from your most recent experience, and then you take them through past experiences. Now, how did I'm currently a customer relations officer, but before now I've been a sales rep. Now you take them through the story of how your experiences built up and got you to where you are right now. So that's to also tell them that for me to be for me to be what I am now, that means I have the skills that you need. I've been able to gather all of the experiences that you require of me, and so I am fit for the job. Okay, another point that we'll be talking about today is um, let it be about and related to the company. Yes. So you are not coming to, yes, definitely you want to tell them about yourself. They're asking you to tell them about yourself, fine. But you're not coming to tell them your life story. You're not coming to tell them your once upon a time story. Whatever you say, like I earlier mentioned, ensure that it relates with the company. So create a beautiful way, have your own creative way of bringing everything back to the company. So if you've taken them through your user experience, you've taken them through the certifications, if you have any, you've taken them through the skills that you've garnered over the years, you've taken them through, the knowledge you have, taking them through the talent you have, and all of that. Now, you should have your own way, have a way of bringing everything back to benefit the company. So, I've been a sales rep before, I've been a customer relationship officer before, I am an expert in interpersonal communication. I I am expert in marketing. I know how to manage people when it comes to emotion. I'm emotionally intelligent and all of that. And all of that. So you've told them about your skills, you told them about your experiences, you told them about your knowledge, you told them about your talents and everything. Now you should bring everything back to how it helps the company. You should bring everything back to how it benefits the company. So if you told said you've been all of this before, okay, fine, we know. How does it benefit us? How do we need it? So you're pitching yourself to the company that you need these skills that I have. These skills that I have, this is how it benefits you. This is what I bring to the table. This is what I have that will benefit your company. So make it about and related to the company. Now, this point also takes us back to the point that I previously made, that whatever experience you're given should be one that relates with what the company is doing. That's when I said if you were a teacher before, and you're applying for a customer relations manager role now, your role of being a teacher before doesn't really apply now. So the experiences you should talk about should be the ones that relates with what the company is doing, should be the one that's that is associated with what the company is doing. Bring everything back to the company. So I've got the skills, I've got communication skills, I've got human management skills, I've got I'm emotionally intelligent, and all of that. This is how it benefits your company. With these skills of mine, I will be able to ensure that you retain your customers, you retain your clients, and even bring new ones to the company. Okay, so these are the things I intend to do for the company if I am if I these are the things I have in mind to do for the company, or this is how I will help the company to achieve its goals. Another point is stress on your strength. Yeah, place more emphasis on your strength. Now, as a human, we have strength, we have weaknesses, of course, but you are applying for a job and you don't want them to think any low of you. You want them to place you on a high pedestal so you can be considered for the role you're applying for. So you should place more emphasis on your strength. You should place more emphasis on those gifts, on talents and abilities that you've got. At the same time, however, as much as you're placing emphasis on your strength, ensure that it relates with the company. The truth is, all of the points that we'll talk about so far comes back, boils down to the company. So whatever it is you are going to talk about, whatever it is you are going to mention, you should have a way of relating it with the company. Oh, every little detail we talk about should relate with the company, because you are trying to convince these people to take you off hundreds of people out there. So what makes you stand out? What makes you special? What makes you different from the others? That's why you should have their needs in mind. You should have their concern in mind. Make it about them as much as you are making about yourself. Make it much more about them. Okay, this is who I am, this is what I've got, and this is how it benefits you. That's the only way you can convince them. So place more emphasis on your strengths and how it helps the company you are applying for, and how it will help you in the role you're applying for. At the same time, give quantifiable examples. Give examples that are results based, achievement based, not task based. You don't just come to tell us, oh, when I served, or when I worked in the role of customer relations officer, I attended to customers, I related with them, I ensured we brought in new customers, I was able to retain the ones we had before, and all of that. Give examples that are qualifiable and quantifiable. I'll give you example. Oh, when I joined the organization that I once worked for, well, the customer base was 50. By the time I joined, we were able to increase it. I was able to, with my help, the company was able to increase it to 80. And then by the time I was leaving the company, I retained all of the 80 customers that we had then. Or by the time I was leaving the company, I was able to even add 20 more to make their customer base 100. So as at the time I came in, the customers were not really engaging with the organization. The organization did not really know what the customers' needs were. But by the time I came in, the percentage of engagement or relations between the customers and the organization increased from 30% to 80%. So make your examples quantifiable and qualifiable. Don't just bore them with tasks and the things you did. Well, all of the things you did, what were the results to show? What were the results to show that you did all of these things that you did? So what would make us believe that you're not just coming to our organization to do and nothing to show for it? What would make us believe that you're not just coming to our organization to warm our chairs, to just waste our data and not really add any benefit to us? Now, I've been talking so far about experience. Someone who's a new graduate or who's just graduating from school will think, well, why do I garner this experience, this form? The truth is, nowadays when recruiters post job placements, they tell you we're looking for someone with 5 years experience, we're looking for someone with 7 years experience, and a student who's just graduated. You're like, okay, how am I supposed to have 5 years experience and I need this job? So I've been talking so far about experience, and if you're watching me, you're like, okay, I don't have any experience. What then do I talk about? Now, that is why I would always advocate for volunteering and interning. In the last webinar series we had, um, Mr. Debo Onifade, he placed much emphasis on the fact that new students should learn to volunteer, students should learn to intern for organizations, intern for companies that do what that do what you would love to do, intern for companies in your chosen fields. These are ways of garnering experience. Now you don't wait until you've graduated before you begin to intern or volunteer. You can begin to do that from school. In fact, there are organizations, there are non-governmental organizations now who even want students to volunteer for them. So you can volunteer in the capacity you want to for these organizations. This will serve as experience for you when you're eventually going to apply for any job. So if you're a student watching me now, and you've not taken the issue of volunteering and interning seriously, well, this is the time to do that. Begin to volunteer for organizations, intern, and don't wait until it is a paid for internship, because you are going there for your own benefit. You're going there to gather experiences. So be ready to give. Yeah, be ready to give whatever it requires of you, because you would need it at the end. You're the one that would need these experiences when you want to apply for a job. So those are the things that can count as experience for you when you're telling your recruiter about yourself. Look at the things you did well when you were volunteering for a particular organization, the things you did when you interned in a particular organization are the things that would count as experience for you. And if you are a fresh graduate, well, I don't expect you to just sit home and do nothing. This is a time for you to acquire knowledge as much as you can. This is a time for you to develop your skills. Now, if you want to build a career in, say, fintech, well, this is a time for you to begin to get yourself used to the technologies required, get yourself used to the skills you need, gather the skills you need, apply for courses, take master classes, have this certificate. So even if you do not have the experience, which you should have, these skills will also speak for you. How you are able to pitch these skills to your recruiter would also speak for you. All right, so that's all the taking on today's webinar series. Like I told you earlier, we'll be having this series every week. So do ensure that you go on our Facebook, Delon Nigeria, and yes, on our website, jobs.delon.ng. You'll find enough material for you there on what you need to do as a fresh graduate, how to answer interview questions. In fact, you would find job vacancies and placements there, so you can apply for the one that suits you. Big thanks to Mr. Debo Onifade and the Liberating Nigeria platform for this opportunity. We will catch up again next week, Friday. And next week, Friday, we'll be talking about another very interesting topic. Yeah, you trust me, you would want to watch that one too. So take care of you. I'll see you in the next video. My name remains Deborah Yusuf. Bye for now.